Well, hello everyone, it's Rick Pasek, the Fly Fish Fanatic, and welcome to my tying bench. Today we will be going and tying a small little shuttlecock pattern, a little emerging chironomid. These are deadly emerging chironomid, emerging buzzer, whatever you want to call it. Can be absolutely deadly at times, especially when you see those fish just sipping just below surface. You just see the water riffling and moving, but you don't really see the fish. It's just more of a slurp. That's what they're going for, emergers. So this is a pattern I use quite often. I've really fallen in love with shuttlecocks in general. I think they're one of the most successful patterns out there when you see those, like I said, when you see that sipping. This one is all black, but I put a tiny little piece of yellow CDC in the shuttlecock wing, and just as a sighter. You don't have to. You'll see the swirl and the tightening of the line. I just like having that little sighter, and it's on the top of the wing, so the fish won't see it. So, alrighty. Without further ado, let's get tying. So, in the vise today, we have a Hens BL 550 size 10 clinkhammer hook. For me, for these emerger shuttlecocks, this is my favorite hook is the Clinky. The clinkhammer hook is, I just love it for this. I just love the shape that it ends up taking on. So for the thread, going to be using some Semperfli Nano Silk in black. For the rib, some Semperfli, oops, I just dropped it. No, I didn't. Semperfli wire, silver, in 0.2 mil. For the thorax area, I'm going to be using some Hens hair dubbing. I'm going to use this number 6, a little bit of an orangey kind of color. It's going to give a little bit of that orangey, that wing bud type thing. And then for the wing, I'm going to use black CDC from Hens and a little tiny piece of yellow CDC, more of a cider. Hopefully, like the fish won't see that. You don't go with a big piece because you don't want it. You don't want it really seen by the fish. You want it. It's more of a cider for you. So now, if you don't want a cider, just don't put it on. Just go with the one black CDC feather. Okay, so I start my thread. Throw my tools around. I'm going to get my piece of silver wire. Now, if you've got extra small hollow tinsel, use that. Less weight, right? You want this nice and light. You want this to sit right up in that surface film. So come right down around the corner, almost to the vise. And then I'm going to flatten my thread. And then I'm just going to cover this nice, thin body, right? Flatten my thread. And you can change up the the body color to whatever you want. It can be black, it can be green, whatever, and then just match the CDC at the front to whatever body color you're doing. So I come to about there. I'm going to wrap up my silver wire. Like I said, if you've got extra small hollow tinsel, use that. Just adds a little bit of less weight because you want, like I said, you want this right up in that surface film. Okay, I'm going to tie that off right there. Okay, now if I wanted to make this a bit more indestructible, I'm not going to do it for the video, but on a normal basis, I would coat this with some Sally Hansen's or some UV resin, let it sit. I'll tie up like 15 to this point, or however many I want to do. Put a resin or whatever on it, and then once it's all dry, I'll come back, right? So now I'm just going to come forward here a bit and grab my CDC feathers. A little bit of wind in the place. So I'm just going to stack them in a way where on my bench here, and then I'll show it to you once I've done it. No, that yellow just broke on me. I'll try to take off just a little bit of the fibers. I don't want that many. So just basically I'm stripping it off of the center, because like I said, I just want a tiny little bit once this is together. Okay, and now I don't want to go much past the where I stopped with the body backwards here. And just come back to where I stopped with the wire. Nip off this excess here. Now, you've got two choices. It's totally up to you what you want to do here. You could just build up like you would with a buzzer, a nice football shape here. Build up a bit of a football shape here, or you can dub it, and I'm going to dub it. I'm going to put just a little bit of that number 6 here from the hens. It's a little rusty orangey kind of copper, but you'll see it'll be just a thin layer. I don't want much, just a thin, as tight as I can make that. Rest off there. Then I'm going to take my CDC, flip it up and over, making sure the yellow is on the top. Okay, just like that. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to push that all back and go in front of it a couple of times. Grab my whip finisher. And again, hold that CDC back and finish in front of it. It'll help hold that up a bit. Do a second set. That one popped off on me. If you've got one of the conical finishers, that works really well on this at this point here. But here we go. Because then you're not trapping anything, right? So come in, cut off your thread. Just make sure everything is looking decent. And then you can put a little dab of your head cement there and you're finished. Like I said, that yellow is a cider for you. That's all it is, right? So that's almost too much that I've got in there. 2 or 3 little strands would be enough. Now, if you don't want the cider, don't put the cider in. Just get rid of it. And then I'll give it just a little bit of a rough up underneath there on that dubbing that I put in. And there it is. That's your finished little shuttlecock. Like I said, don't put a cider in. Don't put the yellow in if you don't want it. Just go straight black, or if you're tying a green body, go straight green. Now, it depends on the green. I might put a little bit of a chartreuse in just to see it again. But the cider is just for me. I'm old. I got bad eyes. I just want the cider. But if you want it more natural, don't put it in. Now, this will sit in the water something like that. That's how it'll sit in the water, right? And it'll just be basically from here up, sticking out of the water or in the surface film. And if you want this to float even better, instead of using the hair dubbing here, put in some Semperfli Kapok dubbing. That will help it float even more. So, alrighty. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. If you subscribe, awesome. If you haven't, please consider doing so. And we'll see you guys on the next tying video. Tie lines, everyone.